The Chicago Bulls are one of the most storied franchises in NBA history, due in large part to the heroics of Michael Jordan. Since the Jordan era, the franchise has been insanely popular, and we're sure a lot of you would love to know more about the team's history. So in this video, we're going to tell you about some facts from Bulls history that all NBA fans should know. Let's get right into it. First up, we have their mascots in at number 14. The main mascot for the Bulls has been Benny the Bull. He made his debut all the way back in 1969. And ever since then, he's been beloved by almost every NBA fan. Benny's a Red Bull who sports the number 1, and he's one of the oldest mascots in all of professional sports. But he wasn't the team's only mascot, as they introduced a second one named Da Bull back in 1995, and he even sported the number 95. Da Bull was Benny's high-flying cousin, known for being an amazing dunker, and while Benny has a more kid-friendly design, Da Bull had a much meaner look, resembling a more realistic bull. Though unfortunately, the actor who played Da Bull was jailed in 2004 for possessing and selling marijuana, resulting in him being retired from the franchise. But hey, at least Benny's here to stay. Next up, we have the date their franchise was founded at number 13. It all began on January 16, 1966. That was the day the NBA gave Chicago a franchise known as the Bulls. After the Stags and Packers Zephyrs, the Bulls were the third team to play in the city. The team debuted in the 1967 season, finished with a record of 33-48, and even reached the playoffs, making them the only team to do so in their inaugural season. It was the best performance by an expansion team in NBA history, but that was nothing compared to what they achieved some 30 years later. Following that, we had their number 1 picks at 12. While Jordan was the greatest player to don the Bulls uniform, he wasn't the first pick in the draft, as he went 3rd overall in 1984. So who have the Bulls drafted with their first picks? Well, they only had that honor twice, and both selections were actually pretty solid. Their first came in 1999 when they drafted the 6'9" big man Elton Brand. While he only played 2 seasons with the team, he was averaging a 20-point, 10-rebound double-double for that entire time. That's pretty impressive for someone who's just entered the league. Then, in 2008, they landed the first pick again and selected Derrick Rose, who was on his way to becoming one of the greatest players in franchise history, as he was on a whole other level before injuries ruined things for him. Neither of them was the second coming of Jordan, but they were both the right picks to make, so good on the Bulls front office. Moving on, we had their logo at number 11. All NBA fans know and love the iconic Chicago Bulls logo, which shows an angry red bull staring right at you. But do we know who designed it? The esteemed graphic designer Dean P. Wessel did. And get this, did you know about the fact that the bit of red at the tip of the Bulls' horns is blood? What makes this even cooler is that it kind of represents how MJ was out for everyone's blood during his prime. Also, did you know that if you flip the logo upside down, you'd see a robot reading a book? Don't believe us? Go ahead and check it out for yourself. Some have also reported that it looks like a robot and crab, but we see more of a robot in the book. Then at number 10, we have the stat categories Jordan leads the franchise in. We all know his airness was insanely dominant, but did you know that this man currently holds the lead in over 20 categories? You heard that right. There are way too many to talk about here, but we'll tell you about some of the major ones. He's played the most games in Bulls history with 930, and during that time, he played the most minutes with 35,887. He also leads in FGM, made it 10,962, as well as free throws, made it 6,798. Plus, he leads the franchise in total rebounds as he grabbed 5,836 boards with the team, and he's even number 1 when it comes to defensive rebounds with 4,289. What's more, he leads the Bulls in steals with 2,306 and assists as he dished out 5,012 during his tenure with the team. Up next, we have Derrick Rose's MVP run at number 9. Prime D Rose was a sight for sore eyes, much like Jordan, and that's why he won the MVP award in his 3rd season in the league, making him the youngest MVP in the history of the NBA. He led Chicago to the 1st seed in the East in 2011 with a phenomenal record of 62-20, while putting up averages of 25 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 7.7 assists, with a 6.7 value over replacement player rating. He was just 22 at the time, and no one's been able to break this record yet. At number 8, we had their highest scoring game. On the 1st of March 2019, the Bulls faced off against the Atlanta Hawks, and boy, we were treated to an absolute banger of a game. The game went down to the wire, and we mean it, as the Bulls only took the Hawks out after 4 overtimes. Chicago finished the game with 168 58 points, beating Atlanta by 7. Zach LaVine led the Bulls to the finish line with his staggering 47-point performance, while Otto Porter Jr. and Lauri Markkanen chipped in with 31 each. Moving on to number 7, we have the Bulls Hall of Fame players. Throughout the team's storied history, they've been home to a total of 11 Hall of Famers. Their names are Ben Wallace, Chet Walker, Artis Gilmore, Guy Rogers, Nate Thurmond, George Gervin, Robert Parrish, Tony Kukoc, Dennis Rodman, Pippen, and MJ. The last 5 dudes listed played together in the 1997 season and became champions. While the franchise has had many Hall of Fame players in the past, there haven't been any recent additions, though we think that guys like D. Rose and Zach LaVine definitely have a chance once it's all said and done. Following that, at number 6, let's look at who the Bulls almost drafted in 1979. Believe it or not, a coin flip, which the Lakers ended up winning, decided the first pick of the 1979 draft. LA won the honor of drafting Earvin Magic Johnson, though we can't help but think how close Magic was to becoming a Bull. After all, if the coin just flipped to the other side, Magic would have been the franchise player for the Bulls, and we have no idea where Michael would have ended up in 1984. Since the Bulls missed out on Johnson, they had to settle for David Greenwood, but at least they got MJ 5 years later. Even so, it's crazy to think how one coin flip had so much power. Coming up at number 5, we have Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals. While longtime NBA fans know about Jordan's iconic flu game, the younger lot and newer fans probably don't. The series was tied at 2 games apiece, and if the Jazz took Game 5, it would have probably been game over for the Bulls. But Jordan wasn't going to go down without a fight. A flu-stricken MJ put on a performance for the ages as he went out there and willed his squad to victory, putting up 38 points despite being dehydrated and exhausted. Jordan said that the game was the most difficult thing he's ever done, as he almost played himself into passing out. Then at number 4, we're looking at the teams who are the Bulls' worst nightmare. The San Antonio Spurs have been terrorizing the Bulls for as long as anyone can remember, as they've won 59 times out of the 95 contests between both teams. That gives the Spurs a win percentage of 62.1 against Chicago. During the Jordan era, the Bulls had a winning record of 14-10 against San Antonio. The Bulls haven't fared well against the Lakers, Nuggets, or 76ers either, as they have losing records against all 3 teams. The Bulls are 65-94 against the Lakers, 42-56 against Denver, and have a record of 106-132 against Philly. Yikes! Moving on, we have the Bulls' favorite victims at number 3. Minus the team we told you about just now, the Bulls haven't been on the receiving end of too many losses against other teams. In fact, they have winning records against 19 of the 29 teams in the league, including Golden State and their longtime rivals, the Detroit Pistons. But the team they've toyed with the most is the Charlotte Hornets, as they have a record of 77-45 against them. That gives them a win percentage of 63.1, which is simply amazing. For number 2, we have their 1996 regular season record. When Chicago capped off their monstrous regular season in the 1996 campaign, they became the first team in NBA history to hit the 70-win mark and finished the season with a staggering record of 72-10. That record was good for the greatest in NBA history until the 73 non-Warriors of 2016, with MJ, Scottie, and Rodman leading the way while being in their primes. It was a season to remember for Bulls fans and NBA fans generally. Last but not least, we have their finals record at number 1. Not only are the Bulls the only team to have a perfect record in the finals, going 6-0, but they're also just the second team in NBA history to have not one but 2 three-peats. That's beyond ridiculous when you realize that the Showtime Lakers never won 3 in a row, and neither did Larry Legend's Celtics. In recent times, greats like Timmy D, LeBron, and Steph Curry haven't been able to achieve this feat either, so doing it twice is just wild. Another interesting thing about their finals record is that they never made it to the big stage after 1998, nor did they ever make it there before 1991. That's a wrap for this video. How many of these facts did you already know about? Let us know in the comments below. As always, remember to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.